All right. Welcome back to a very, very phenomenal episode of the Absolute Arsenal podcast. I am your host, as always, PJ Davidson, back with the whole gang. The gang had to get together for this one. We got Rob Steinhauser, Christian Escalera in the house. Rob is doing his best flu game impression. Not feeling great, but he's sicky. He wouldn't miss this one. And
too much crime, too much time hearing Christian made me physically sick. Decided to take 2 weeks off.
You haven't heard of me in 2 weeks.
I know. I missed you, though.
I know.
There's a tingle in my pants right now that I'm seeing your face and hearing your voice.
Which side?
What do you mean, which side?
Front or back?
Both.
Yes. Yeah, I'm physically sick as well, but it's probably the 8 or 9 Guinness I drank at the pub yesterday because I got there at 2 o'clock. Yeah,
in 3 hours.
Actually, it was a little more because I got there at like 2. I got there at 2:15, even though the game was at 4 because I just couldn't work anymore. I was too nervous, so I decided to just go straight to the pub to start drinking and calming my nerves. And it didn't work. We were about 15 minutes before kickoff, and I looked at Christian. I'm like, I've had like 4 beers, and this is not doing anything. But
Christian, how many beers did you have?
0.
How many ice waters did you have? All right.
3.
Now we're cooking.
Hydrated man.
Very cold. On the rocks.
Big shout out Jack Doyle's, by the way. They were awesome yesterday. Bartenders would not let you have an empty glass, whether that was Guinness or water. Had an awesome crew of dudes.
Good crowd,
we made a bunch of friends at the pub. So shout out to you guys. I know a bunch of you guys are going to be listening. So it was awesome meeting you all. We really appreciate it and look forward to doing it again. But let's dive in. So I think there was a lot of debate in terms of what the lineup would be because it was a short turnaround, right? And I think Jorginho starting at the weekend was a little, I shouldn't say surprising because it wasn't surprising, but it had implications because there's this stigma with him of can he play again, 3 days later or whatever. And I think the general consensus is no matter what, Jorginho has to start this match. I said to Christian, some of the guys around us, I think he's first name on the team sheet yesterday. He's that important. So I was really glad to see him. It sounds like the Martinelli injury is certainly worse than what we feared. And he withdrew from the Brazil squad. And it's going to be basically a race against the clock to get ready for City. So Arteta obfuscates anything in his press conference. He doesn't give anything away, so hopefully it's not even an issue and he'll definitely be ready for City because there's such a long gap, 18 days, but who's counting? So and then it was, what is he going to do? I think a lot of people expected Gabriel Jesus to come in given his pedigree in Europe and the fact that he's fit again, and it wouldn't be the first time he's played off the wing. But if we didn't play him off the wing, what would that mean for Havertz and so on and so forth? Because you're not dropping Jorginho. Long story short, the answer was just Leandro Trossard at left wing. And, as we progress through the game, I think we can agree that Leo was, I think, a point of frustration for a large chunk of the first half in that he was an easy target. I don't think he was doing everything that we hoped he would do. But football is a game of moments, and he had his moment, and we'll continue to get there. The other nice thing to see was Tomiyasu on the bench. So we had some really good bench options between Tomiyasu, Thomas Partey, Alexander Zinchenko, and then a lot of the usual guys who are there, and Jesus, of course. So anything else pregame you guys want to add before we just dive into the match?
No, I was surprised to see Trossard at the wing. I wanted Jesus, but at the end of the day, it worked out.
I think we talked about that before the game started at the bar. That was kind of like the lineup that we were expecting. Consider that, we have scored a bunch of goals, and we needed goals. So,
yeah. I think the way that Porto set up was completely and utterly unsurprising. Their manager, who can candidly eat a bag of dicks and drive into one-way traffic the wrong way, in my opinion, made actually a pretty apt comment where he said Arsenal wanted to play and we wanted to win. And I think that was really accurate in the sense that Porto knew we're not going to beat them at football, as a lot of teams in the Prem have figured out. And that was so frustrating.
I think he was just trying to he's just trying to act as a cheap copy of Mourinho with those comments, honestly. I don't think he has ever said something like that. He just wanted to be a wise ass like Mourinho is. And it just backfired because obviously you have a second leg. So it just didn't work out for him.
I don't know why.
And then spend the entire afternoon crying about Arteta saying some shit about his mom or something.
Yeah, he's making stuff up the same way he did against Tuchel, the same way he did against Guardiola. Dude, you lost. Move on. Like, don't start bringing that into it.
Exactly.
3 different managers who all, they didn't all say
haven't had issues
right?
with anyone
for the most part. Him. Yeah, I mean, he's just again, he's a sore loser.
I mean, in respect to him, I don't think they played bad. I think they played actually really good. But just if you lost, just take the L and leave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we're gonna play a tougher opponent all season, Premier League, Champions League, etc., than the way Porto were in this match. And I don't mean they're the best team, definitely not. But the way that they played was very much to frustrate us, but they did have talent. And I think in the Prem, those teams aren't nearly as talented as Porto, while simultaneously trying to just frustrate. But they were really good at it. I mean, in the first, 5 minutes, I mean, it was just them keeping the ball back to the keeper, to one of the defenders, back to the keeper. Maybe it got to a midfielder, then it went all the way back to the keeper, and he would just sit on it. And you could tell it was like we were prepared and kind of had our own game plan. But when the bright lights were on, it was like, okay, we really got to figure out what we're going to do here. And you could tell there was a little uncertainty at times, in my opinion, between like Havertz and Odegaard and what to do really with pressing them. And
did you hear Saka speaking after the game? No, you probably didn't because you were at the bar. But he did had an interview with the people at CBS, and Henry asked him about that. He's like, you guys didn't really seem that you were pressing the way that you usually press. And he did say that they had another, like a different type of game plan for this game, because they just knew that they were trying to keep the ball in the back and then try to attack as they create spaces. So they high press. It was only going to be with 1 or like 2 players, as in like, I don't know, the entire front 3 plus Odegaard pressing.
No, that makes sense. And you could tell it was it was definitely different.
Like Saka was really deep into the pressing role, and he's usually pretty up.
It seemed to me like for the most part it was really just Havertz and Odegaard. Leo crept forward a few times, but it was definitely really, really interesting and frustrating. And again, it was very true to the concept of they wanted to play and we wanted to win. We wanted to play and they wanted to win. I think they would have happily gone with that game plan for 90 minutes if they could have, and just tried to frustrate us. But they were successful in frustrating a lot of us. I mean, there was a lot of nervous energy, of course, so I don't think that helped. But they really weren't creating a whole lot. They were certainly committing some fouls, and I mean,
the first 20 minutes they were just diving.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit frustrating because the ref was like calling all of this like bullshit fouls. I think at the end of the first half, like I guess somebody told him on the dressing room, like, dude, you're calling bullshit. And then in the second half, extra time, he was a lot more like, play, like, I know what you're doing. Just stop diving and play.
This referee just confused me. Like, I mean, he was really bad in my opinion both ways. We got we obviously got it worse from him, but there was no consistency. It almost seemed like he was like refereeing a different set of rules. It was just so weird. And then it was compounded, I think, the refereeing team, when you get to the end of the first half with all that stoppage and you see 1 minute go up. I'm like, I know the Premier League is pushing this new concept, and like the World Cup did with, we constantly get a lot of stoppage time. But in the Prem, that would have been like an 8-minute stoppage time half.
Yeah.
That, I mean, the whole place at Jack Doyle's went up like, what are you talking about? I mean, Rob, I'm sure you had the same reaction too, but it was just bizarre.
Yeah, it was really bizarre because it felt like he would call these ticky-tack fouls, and you see a hard foul come in and they wouldn't call anything, and things you'd normally see cards get handed out for, there wasn't a card. Like, they got away with it. We also got away with it. It was just so wildly inconsistent with the way the game was called against both teams, but definitely favored Porto in the shithousery that they were pulling. I don't know if I'd say it was he wasn't blowing the whistle as often as the first leg, though.
That was
the first leg was so, yeah. Every corner, a guy goes down, something's whistled. It was just wild. Hopefully we never, ever see those two refs again.
Yeah, I really hope so. I did not enjoy one bit of it. And, I want a referee to be a non-story. Like, that's a good referee.
Yeah.
But, first half, I mean, we were getting a lot of chances, as time started to progress, or, I would say half chances. I don't think there was anything really, really strong. But there was definitely nervous energy as it was coming to half. I mean, it was obviously we're about to go in, still don't have the goal. How the heck are we going to break through? What subs do we have to make? Change the whole game plan. And then Martin Odegaard pulled off a piece of skill that Mesut Ozil would have given him a standing ovation for. I don't even know if Ozil had that in his locker. Of all the unbelievable moves he's made. But yeah, the drag back and the way he just laid it on a plate for Trossard. And Arsblog said it really well, where it was like, I forget exactly the phrasing he used, but it was something of just like you will finish this. Like, I just made this incredible move. Here's the ball. I demand you finish this. It was just that good. And he buried it. I mean, absolute beauty.
Thank God.
I mean,
I screamed so fucking loud when that happened. I had my door kind of open right here, and my neighbor stepped outside. He goes, "Rob, are you good?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm just watching a soccer game." I scared my dog. My dog gets so nervous and scared when I'm watching matches. So he goes and sits in the far back corner of my apartment and just stares at me. And he's like shaking a little bit. So I have to like go grab him and rub him down a little bit to make him happy.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like I do.
I was just going to say, it sounds oddly familiar.
Sounds familiar.
Christian knows I have good hands.
Still owe me something.
Me too.
I know.
Talk about that
yeah. I mean, place erupted. I mean, just the release of, holy shit, finally. Okay, like, game on.
Like, we made it. We kind of made it.
Job not done at all. But
it was kind of like an even game from there on.
Yeah.
Like, we're tied.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Now we have to win.
So that was that 15 minutes of halftime would have been incredibly unenjoyable, and it made it a lot more enjoyable and happy. So shout out Odegaard and Trossard for helping us out with that, because that would have not been a fun stretch. So we get to the second half after the ridiculousness that was our 1 minute of stoppage time, and I don't really have a whole lot to remark other than I want to say it took till like the 73rd minute, I think, for Porto to get their first yellow card. which was bananas. And just before that, that was where we thought we had broken through. Where, I mean,
Yeah.
I listened to every piece of content I could find today while I was at work, just shooting off emails and listening to podcast after podcast after podcast to hear what other people were saying. And there was a shocking amount of admission and agreement that they thought that it was a foul. And I just remember in the moment being like, that's not even close. I mean, granted, I was not sober, and my judgment was a little impaired, but I didn't see anything. I guess they said Havertz grabbed some of Pepe's shirt. With that said, I think
shit happened all game.
He did. But
that was the other point. It made no effect.
Play. Like, I think the keeper like pushed Havertz into the mix between both of them, and Havertz he was just like sandwiched in between both of them, you know. And like the fact that he like touched Pepe off the back, like fucking grabbed like the shirt, like maybe like this, and that's the foul. If that's the foul, because we don't even know if that's what the ref saw. Because I mean, I saw it. We saw it yesterday at the bar. I didn't really see it. I saw it today when I saw it replay, but it was so soft. Like, I don't think that doesn't get called.
Well, the other thing is why I don't understand why you're calling it, because aren't they instructed?
Yeah,
let it play on, and then you go back to VAR and
play.
You review it.
Yep.
So
yeah, I don't know. I think it was just weird the way that played out, and fuck, it was annoying because the whole bar was erupting, and I just saw the. I don't remember who, or Havertz maybe. He was running behind Odegaard, and all of a sudden he stopped, and Odegaard just kept running, celebrating. And I was like, I just know it's like,
of course,
disallowed.
Yeah, let that shit go to VAR. Let them sort it out. But also, there's been shirt pulling massively all game. Like when Trossard got fish hooked around the neck, nothing, not even
such a blatant pen.
Insanity.
Like, such a blatant pen. But super weird. It also took us a really long time to make any changes. First change coming on 83 minutes with Jesus coming on for Jorginho. So I was glad to see that. And Porto just made.
I think when that happened, we kind of like got back to life because we were on a little bit of a like downside. And Jesus coming in, he
almost scored with his first touch
when he came in.
I mean,
yeah.
I know it was just like his thigh or whatever, and I don't know how much he knew about it, but credit to Costa because that was a heck of a save that he made on Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, I mean, I thought in my opinion, Jesus was really, really good at the 9, but when we brought Eddie on and he went to the left wing, I thought he was basically a ghost, and mostly just a passenger the rest of the way.
I think that those subs didn't really help us out. Eddie coming in, I don't know.
I mean,
I think that was a hope and a prayer.
I think we even said it at the bar when he came in. He had like a play right after.
Oh,
and he lost the ball. He just didn't press. He just walked back.
Jogging.
Like, bro, like you just came in. We're like a Champions League like knockout stage, dude. Like fucking run. Or fucking jog.
Yeah.
Number 30 Eddie would have fucking run back.
14 Eddie has made it though. He's the king.
He's just like I don't know what the hell has happened to that guy.
So,
honestly.
Yeah, so we go into extra time, at which point Porto had made 5 changes, and we had just made the 1 with Jesus. So was definitely a little worried about that. But really, I don't think much really happened in extra time. I think.
Other than Zinchenko coming on and being fucking awful.
He wasn't great.
That fucking corner he gave away.
He came on and Eddie came on for Kivior and Trossard. Where I want to stop for a second. How freaking good was Jakub Kivior yesterday?
I thought he was phenomenal all game, and I remember texting something about how good he's been, and then he gave the ball away right after that, and Christian said something back. But other than that, I thought he did
No,
really
I
well.
think like I was asking for Zinchenko because I think on the offense, like he was kind of sometimes like too slow with the ball when we're trying to like get a
Yep.
quick breakaway. Obviously, he came in and he just like I don't know which mindset Zinchenko had when he came in, but he just like it was a disaster. Like I don't know what like he was thinking on that corner that he gave away in the I don't know what minute, like childish corner. I would have we would that would have destroyed us if they would have scored on there. Defensively, like I don't think. I mean, there was a couple plays that Kiwi or like try to defend that short guy Otavio, I think his name is
Oh, Evan
number
Nilsson.
30 or 10. Yeah, on the no, the one on the wing. Let me see if I can have it here.
Galeno or Conceição, the other, the
Conceição
little
or whatever it is.
Conceição.
Yeah, like he would go, he would let him get the ball, and there was a big gap in between them, and he got beaten a couple of times. I think after that, he kind of like realized that he wasn't going to beat him at pace, and he got a lot closer, and that's where he started dominating him.
Yeah,
And he would not let him get the ball freely. I mean, he's a foot taller than him. Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah,
get closer. Yeah,
like Kivior is not a left back. He is our fourth string left back because every single other person has gone down with injury or been unavailable or is coming back. But I mean, again, I said it to Christian yesterday that if Kivior played, if Zinchenko played the game that Kivior played against Brentford, we would have slaughtered him. But Kivior is a little bit protected because he's new. He's the shiny object. He's doing his best. It's not his position. But again, if Zinchenko played that game, we would have absolutely killed him. But it was Kivior, and we were kind of like, it's fine. And he totally backed the faith in giving him the start again. In my opinion, I thought he was just fantastic.
I think if Kivior does something, like a little hiccup here and there, we don't usually get punished because he recovers. I feel like whenever Zinchenko has like a mess up, we always get punished because it's just in such a bad spot at a bad time.
Yeah, he's quicker to recover. I agree.
But also, and also like all over, Twitter, after the game, like everyone was praising Kivior. So we weren't alone in thinking that. I thought Ben White was shit the entire game. That was my worst player on the field by far.
Interesting.
Bosaka for me.
So many giveaways. So many giveaways. Deep balls were shit. Gabriel's deep balls were shit too. I didn't think Ben White played well at all. Probably the first game I've ever said Ben White hasn't played well.
He worked his butt off and he busted a lung. So I was pretty happy with him in that regard. I don't know. I didn't have that much of an issue with Ben White yesterday.
Yeah, me being home and not being around people, I was like every time there's a fuck up, I was just blowing up the group chat, and I don't know how many times I mentioned Ben White.
We'll get to ratings, but he's not my worst guy in the field.
Oh man. So again, I don't think there's a whole lot to say about the extra time. I don't think either side really had any significant chances. So we go to the penalties, which is somebody who got to watch the Atletico Madrid Inter penalties today as a new.
I did, and
right. It was.
I was like, I'm so glad it's
like,
on my
I'm
team.
sitting there as a neutral watching this, and I'm watching all when they're putting the camera on all the Inter fans and all the Atletico fans, and just watching them like in tears just before a penalty is even taken, and just the nerves and the emotions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, been there, done that 24 hours ago. Know how you feel.
If you ask me details about the penalties, I think I'd only remember saves by Raya.
Just
I don't
blacked
remember
out.
where our penalties went to. No, I don't remember our penalties.
I just know
have
they
no
were
idea where they
all
went.
awesome.
So they were all so good.
Just like the
Yeah,
first
so
two
good.
penalties that
Was it Odegaard?
Havertz, right?
Yeah.
I do remember Havertz.
Odegaard,
He did like a
Havertz,
stop and then
Saka, and
Saka
Rice.
and Rice.
And then
Rice.
we never know who would have taken the fifth. There's a rumor that it would have been Ben White, which
I
is
have-
surprising because Jesus was there.
I have a feeling that it was going to be Zinchenko.
I've heard that, but
No, I would never want him to do it. Never, him or Eddie, never.
I think he'd take the
No.
penalties on Ukraine.
interesting.
So that's why I think he's going to be the one.
That's just setting up for another scene of Zinni crying because he blows the penalty. Like, I don't want to see that. I thought we were going to lose. I thought the longer the game went in extra time, I thought it was just setting up for, like, this is what Porto wants. And I was 100% sure we were going to lose the penalty shootout.
See,
Yeah, you were being
did
pretty
not have
negative
faith.
on the group chat.
Would not have any
Right.
faith.
David Raya, man, I think I can confidently say that David Raya won the number one shirt yesterday. If it hadn't happened already, like I'm saying, not from Arteta. Obviously, we know he's the number one in Arteta's mind. I think from fans, I think he won a lot
Yeah.
of the swing people away. There are going to be some people who will back Ramsdale always, no matter what, and they're never going to change their mind regardless of what happens in reality. But I think some of those people that are like in the middle on should it be Ramsdale, should it be Raya, like I think his performance yesterday in every component put that to bed. The way that early in the game, like there were two in a row where he had to come way out of his box to clear, and he did it so freaking calmly. He made great saves when he was needed. He claimed crosses. He was
Yeah.
going up with some of the tall dudes on Porto and snatching balls away, quick distribution, great with his feet. Like he did it all yesterday. And I know we're not at player ratings yet, but David Raya is the first
He
10
got a great.
I think I'm ever giving on this show.
He got a great cross, like a hard
Yeah.
cross, that he like grabbed it with like one hand and
And
then
he
went
came
all
down
the way
with it in
down
security,
with
yeah.
it.
I was gonna mention
It
that.
was pretty good.
Incredible.
Yeah, I was also
Like
gonna
I still
mention-
think. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say also to agree with you. I think the thing that David Raya did do yesterday is like anyone on the fence who was like, yeah, I don't really know who our number one is. Like, I think he cemented himself in those people's minds of like, okay, this is our guy.
I still think Ramsdale is like a better shot stopper, but it's like what we always said. Like he lacked on the penalties, and this guy showed yesterday that he's a fucking. He knows how to play. You know how to stop penalties, which is
He also-
big, important. Like
Did he dive left every single time? I'm pretty
I
sure
think
he
he-
went left every single time.
Did he?
I think Raya dove left every. Maybe there's
Didn't
one.
he go
went
right on
but
the
I'm
one
pretty
he
sure-
got fingertips to? The third one?
No, I
No,
think he
that
went
was
left.
left too.
Yeah, I think he
Ah,
went left on every
interesting.
single penalty.
Yeah, one of them went to the right, the first one, and then
But-
the other three he touched. One of them touched and he went in.
And I love his mentality because he's like, you saved 2 penalties. How's it feel?
Yeah.
He goes, I should have saved 3. Like,
Yeah,
that's
the
Did you
coach
see
is
that
going to be
interview
pissed
at
at
the
me.
end?
Yeah.
Inaki is going to be mad.
Yeah.
Also said like he's like 90 minutes or 120 in this case concentrated in the game, which is
and-
something
and-
that
yeah.
Ramsdale
No, because he
can't
came out and he said that.
apparently.
I do not think in any way, shape, or form that was a shot at Ramsdale. Because the question was asked about mentally draining.
No, I think because the question is like, no, the question was more like, do you feel tired, after the games? And he was like, I mean, not like leg tired because obviously I don't do anything, but it's like draining because I'm like the entire game I'm
Yeah.
like trying to keep my like.
You're like on
Composure.
edge the
Yeah.
entire game.
in an environment.
It's like
So,
I didn't do shit. Like
interesting.
I was so mentally exhausted after that game, and I stood up in my living room right here, like hands on my knees, and I'm sweating watching this game. And I'm like, it's over, and I'm like, you guys asked me how I felt. I go, I'm
I
exhausted.
feel like I ran a marathon.
Feel like I played.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, just unreal penalties across the board. Just flawless. I really wish we could know who would have been the fifth. We'll never know. But I would love to. So, we're in.
14 years
14
later.
years later, we got it
Oh my
done.
God.
Couple things of note that I thought were really interesting. All of our January signings from last year were in the team yesterday and made significant impacts. So Trossard, Jorginho, and Kivior were 3 of the 11 starters. And I don't think
Arteta, baby,
anyone was
knows what he's
excited
doing.
about that January window, missing out on Mudryk, everything else. I mean, Trossard scores the goal, of course. Kivior, again, I thought fantastic.
Came out of
Jorginho,
nowhere.
first name on the team sheet today with the performances lately. Like, wow. Just really impressive. So now we're into the final 8. Now that the games are over today, our final 8 is going to be Manchester City, Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern, Arsenal, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund. Heavyweights, man. 8 heavyweights.
Yeah.
There's no easy route here. From now on is like do or die.
So I'll have each of you, we'll go around. We'll each give 2 teams we would prefer to face and 2 teams we don't want to face. So, yeah,
I'll go first. I want Bayern first and foremost. 1, we just beat our curse and our drought to get back into the quarters. So let's beat another curse and just whoop Bayern's ass, and let's knock Harry Kane out of the Champions League and stop him from winning a trophy. That's what I want first and foremost. Secondly, I would say I want Barcelona because I think they're weak and they're not going to be a team that's going to sit and live by the ball, and I think we can smash them. So those are the 2 teams that I want. Should I name the 2 teams I don't want now? We're going to come back to that.
Christian, who are your 2?
Okay.
That you want?
That I want. I would like Barcelona. Just the fact that they have a lot of young players and they're not playing at their stadium. It'd be a big fact on an away game.
Forgot about that.
And I would think Real Madrid. Honestly.
Interesting.
I would take.
Tell
Real
me
Madrid.
more.
The way that I saw them play against Leipzig, and I just either leg they weren't good. They have been playing decent on the league. I mean, they're getting results. They're like up top. I don't know, by 10 points maybe. But for some reason in the Champions League, they haven't like had. I mean, it's always Real Madrid, but I think that could be a good team to beat and make a good statement.
For me,
just because they're like the Giants.
I mean, for me, the one that would excite me the most of like, oh baby, here we go, would be Real Madrid. But I think that is an opponent that makes more sense for like the semis or the final. Just like that's the big one.
Exactly.
You know, like I don't know if I can really truly explain it. It just that's how I feel. And they do scare me. Just they do. In terms of who I would want Barcelona as well. For all the reasons you guys said. And then I think I would say Borussia Dortmund. Barca, I just want to right so many of the wrongs of years past. And there's an element of that with Bayern, but Harry Kane, as much as I would love to slay the dragon, also has our number. And I would really like to avoid him in them. So I'm going to go with Barcelona and Dortmund. In terms of the 2 that you don't want to face, Christian, go ahead.
One.
I don't
Mhm.
Bayern Munich yet. I think I would, for the same reason that you picked Madrid for the semifinal. I think I would enjoy a Bayern semifinal. And obviously, I don't want to see City yet.
Yeah. One thing on Bayern though is they have a ban where I'm pretty sure their fans can't travel
Hmm.
away
Really
to away games. Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
interesting.
but yeah, for me, the teams I don't want is I don't want Madrid and I don't want City just because I feel like those are two teams that it just makes sense, like in the terms of glory, to beat them later on in the tournament. But I also think that the Champions League is rigged, and we just won't see either one of those teams. City's going to get Dortmund, like it's just inevitable. You know, it's going to happen.
I mean, respect to Dortmund this year. They have been in the Champions League. They've been
Yeah.
very good. Like they beat everyone in that group, that a group of death. So they've been sucking in the league. They added Sancho to their January, the squad in January. So, and also that stadium, it
Yellow Wall is a
kind of
scary
scares me too.
freaking thing. Um,
Yeah.
For me, I mean, far and away, it's Manchester City is the team I do not want to play. We got enough going on with them. I can take that off and be okay. And also thinking like worst case scenario, like if Man City beat us in the league and knock us out of the Champions League, that would just be so freaking deflating and humiliating. Not humiliating because it's nothing to be ashamed of, but just you guys get what I'm saying. Like, that would stink. So
Yeah.
City number one. I only want to play City in the final. And then,
I'd
well,
rather not
yeah, if
even
we
play
have
them,
to, I'm just saying, yeah.
honestly.
I would love to play
Period.
Dortmund in
But
the finals.
the other team, so the other
Atleti.
team that I would not want to face next is Atletico Madrid, because
Yeah.
you watch what Porto did to us, and they're gonna do
gonna be
the
the same shit.
same thing. Simeone and guys like Rodrigo De Paul, and yeah, like they're all gonna do that shithousery to us, but they're way better and more talented. And I just
I mean, they won the game today playing defensively, which blew
Like-
my mind. Like, they came back from a 2-0 global and tied the the whole the
Yeah.
global, and won the game playing defensively, which it just
I
blew
want-
my mind.
I
That's
want
how they
nothing
do
to
it.
do with that style. Again, we can take a break from that. That's really okay with me. So
Yeah.
um,
I take mine back. I agree with you. I completely forgot about Atletico. I'd rather not have City or Atletico. So I agree with you there because I do not want to sit and watch a team 11 behind the ball, shit house, or I'll kill myself.
sounds
can't do it again.
Absolutely miserable. Okay, so we got some questions. So let me pull these up. Okay. First question comes from Jaime, who says, "Does Real Madrid regret selling Odegaard?"
No, because I don't. There's no guarantee that he would be the player for us that he is for them. And like I said earlier, Madrid has like a we win right now mentality, and Odegaard wasn't ready to be on the field to win now. So they definitely admire him and they respect him, but I don't think they're, punching themselves thinking, "Oh, I wish we had this guy," because he just would have never developed there the same way he developed here.
I don't think they'd regret it, but I think that if Ancelotti would have been there earlier, I don't think Odegaard would have come to Arsenal. I think he would have used them a lot more than what Zidane did when he was the manager, and that's why they sold it to us. They sold him to us. I mean, we all saw how good James Rodriguez was with Ancelotti at Bayern and even Everton, which was like it's a mid-table team, I think Ancelotti would have done really good with him. Thankfully, at that moment was Zidane, the coach, and he just didn't want a talented, happy feet midfielder. He just wanted somebody fast, so we got him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they regret it. I don't think they give a fuck.
And it's Madrid. Like their thought process is like we can just buy
Yeah.
another one. Like there's
The,
more out there.
I think the thing is, the only regret I think they might have is not pushing for some sort of a buyback clause, because I think you guys hit the nail on the head. Like he never would have developed there. Rob, exactly what you said. He never would have developed there. That's why he kept going on loan over and over and over, and he never would have settled into that Real Madrid team. He never would have gotten the chance. I could have seen him signing with Real Sociedad because he had a great loan there.
Every single loan he did was successful. I don't think there was a loan that.
But Sociedad, especially, I thought he really took the biggest step.
Yeah.
Compared to like what was it, like Vitesse and like some of the other ones. But
yeah,
I think Real Madrid would happily buy him back now, and the fact that they sold him to us for what, like 30 million quid is insane. Even at the time, it was insane, and he quickly proved that wrong. I mean, Odegaard's now, he's going for what, 150.
Thank God we got him before Todd Bowley went to Chelsea, or else Odegaard would have cost like 180.
Yeah, before he went and ruined everything. So, next question is from @LongHugh. He says, with Zinchenko, Jesus, and Jurrien Timber coming back, should Arsenal be changing the strategy and or formation?
I don't think the formation ever changed on that left back department. Even we were discussing it last time too, saying that Kiwior doesn't really go up and stays back.
Sorry
the last couple games he just goes up.
I think you could
go ahead.
Flip back to the left now instead of White inverting. You could have Timber invert instead. So
yeah,
but they've been doing it both with Kiwior. I don't know if you guys noticed on the Brentford game and the one before, like he's been going up a lot more than when he was.
I see him going up the wing more, like overlapping, but I haven't noticed him tucking into midfield as much, but I'm probably just not looking for it.
Yeah, he's been tucking like up in the field when we have possession, which I just don't think the style of play would matter. I do think that if Timber comes in, maybe something else would go into play, but I think the style is
if Tomiyasu came in, do you think they would still be inverting Ben White and leaving Tommy home? Or do you think they would invert Tommy and leave Ben home? I don't know.
It just feels that it's at this point it's like interchanging. Like
yeah,
at some points you see like Rice, tucking into the attack and staying roaming in the middle, and then in 10 minutes later you see it the other way.
It's just unpredictability, which is amazing. Like it's hard
which
to
is great because last season was the same. It was always left back going up.
And like, let's say we play a team that has like a killer right wing. Okay, we'll probably maybe not invert our left back as much. We'll invert our right back because we always have to be aware of that winger who's going to want to counter on us. So it just gives us like a versatility that a lot of other teams don't have.
I mean, I think in general, I don't see Zinchenko being the regular starting left back for Arsenal Football Club anymore. I see him being a rotational piece in a situational starter, which is one of the great things about the versatility we have is like you have a more offensive player in Zinchenko, you have a more defensive player in Tomiyasu, but he has shown some capability going forward too, but clearly a defender. And then Timber, again, like we just don't really know. We saw a little bit of him, and that's why when I did the Liverpool pod, they said Robertson or Timber, and I said, well, for now it's got to be Robertson, just because we've seen Timber play like twice in any sort of real competition. Do I think after he plays, am I confident that it'll be undoubtedly I pick Timber? Yeah, I'm pretty damn confident of that. But so it's hard for me to say too much about Timber because we don't know enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think anybody's gonna take that position off him
from Timber.
in a long time.
Yeah, I just don't know if
Yeah.
he's actually going to be our left back though. That's the other thing. I don't know what his position is.
So I think with the Netherlands, he plays like on that back 3 or 5 that they play. He plays more like the right, like
Yep.
center back. But I also think he's like really.
Yeah,
low to
he was
both feet,
earmarked as a
so
right back, if I
it's just
recall, either a
kinda
right
like-
center back or a right back.
Yeah,
But again, we can say all we want. I mean, we just don't have any basis for Arsenal, unfortunately. So,
Yep.
but yeah, in terms of the formation and the strategy, just to close the loop on that question, I don't think Mikel adjusts much in that department. So, he's had a few moments, but nothing crazy. Next question kind of goes back to the lack of subs that we made, and this is regular guest Michael Chavez chiming in on the questions. What's up, Michael? He said, "Where was Thomas Partey? Rice was clearly gassed, and Porto had all these fresh legs coming on." Just to quickly answer that one, I mean, I think if Thomas Partey didn't come in, there's a reason for it, and it's probably fitness based, because we all know that when he's in form and he is whatever you want to call fit in the world of Thomas Partey, yeah, I mean, no doubt he's playing. So if we didn't even want to bring him on, here's the one thing: I think if we had if that Havertz goal had counted in the 70th or whatever it was, I think we would have seen Thomas Partey. I think he would have come on there.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
But the way the game was going, being even, I think it just, if we didn't need to be distinctly defensive, I think that's why. But I also did not think Rice had. Excuse me, I did not think Rice had a particularly good game. I thought both ties Rice struggled, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think he. I didn't see Rice being gassed. I didn't like his game overall until Jorginho came out. I think that's when he kind of like settled in a little bit more on the position that he actually plays. The Partey, question to be coming in or back is like at that point of the game, like he obviously didn't come on the 90th minute. Like you said, he would have probably come in if we would have scored 100%, but we didn't. We needed a goal and the potential penalties at the end of the, so I think at that stage of the game, it's more of is Thomas Partey a penalty taker that it's worth me taking Rice out and bringing him in? And
Yeah,
it just answered the question when Rice stepped in and just scored. But I do agree with you when you say, if we would have scored even the extra time, we would have scored another goal. He would have probably come in.
I just don't think you want Declan Rice, who's an engine and a natural born leader, out of the game. And you also lose not only the penalties, but his set piece deliveries as well. And also, like, Thomas Partey hasn't been playing. We don't know anything about his fitness. That's just not a game for me that I would want to throw him in.
He did
on.
not look good when he came on. What was it, Brentford or whatever it was? Which, I mean, completely understandable. But, yeah, he did not look good. He looked so stiff.
He's just not used to the speed of the game.
I feel like we always see that from Partey when he first comes back, as he looks really, really, really rusty. But he shakes it off, and then we see the Thomas Partey video.
It's probably going to take him a couple games.
Yeah.
I don't know, 2-3 games to like get back into that rhythm and put the game that he plays. And we've said this a million times too. Like, I'm just excited to see us closing the season with him and Rice in the middle.
Yeah.
And freeing
It'll
Odegaard
be so
a little bit
interesting
more.
to see in the City game with, basically, 2.5, almost 3 weeks. Does he start or does Jorginho start? I mean, that's a really interesting one because Jorginho is basically undroppable right now.
I mean, even if, like, isn't the last game, like, Jorginho started and then Partey came in and he was the one, him, Tomiyasu, and Gabriel Martinelli were the ones, like, fabricated that goal. It's a matter of, like, even if he doesn't start when he comes in, if he's, like, fifth, like, on like his pace or not pace. Sorry,
Mhm.
the timing is there. It's just gonna kill
Yeah.
fresh legs.
Yeah, I just think if you're City, you have to deal with, a fresh Jorginho, and then guess what? We're going to bring out a fresh Thomas Partey, or vice versa. That's
Yeah.
good for us.
Absolutely. Last question, also from Michael Chavez, and I know you guys are absolutely ready to jump on this one, so I'm going to go first before.
Oh, I'm going to fucking drill you, Michael. Just FYI, I've never met
I
you,
know
but
you're
I'm
both going
sorry.
to absolutely eviscerate him for this one, but I'm gonna go first, make my point, because
Okay.
I do understand where he's coming from with the question we're about to ask, and I'll explain
Never.
why. I'll give my answer.
Let me know
Let
when
me
I can
chime in
talk.
first, because I see you two as we're chumming the water here. So Michael's question is: should we have lost in the Champions League to prioritize the league? With a nod to lack of depth at the moment. So here is what I'm going to say. This is not the first time in the last few years that we have had to contemplate that, because we were in the Europa League. And when we were in the Europa League, in my opinion, I don't really give a flying fuck, right? Like, the Europa League, yeah, it would have been nice to win, and it was a route back. Like, the only reason we really gave a shit about the Europa League was because if we won it, it was an automatic way into the Champions League. That's the only reason that I would care about the Europa League. Other than group stages, it was a great chance to play youth. You knew you had 3 games where you could play a younger team, and we would probably be fine. So, in that scenario, if it's Europa League, we did contemplate, should we just go out so we can focus on the Prem and make sure we're getting top 4? Especially because we did not have the depth that we have this year. That's where his mindset is coming. I can almost guarantee that's where Michael's question is coming from because of past years.
Two completely
Let
different
me get to
things.
part 2 of my answer. With that said, absolutely not. It's the fucking Champions League. If we're going to be a major team, you need to be in the mix for both. You look at the other 7 clubs that are in this competition still, right? What did we say? Manchester City, Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern, Barca, Atletico, Dortmund. With the exception of PSG, who their league is irrelevant, but they're obviously built to win the Champions League. All of these other clubs every year are in the mix for the title, and they get this far in the Champions League. So if we're going to count ourselves as a major club, we need to do the same. So
Yep.
now I'm done. Now you two can jump in and attack and have at it.
Christian, you go first. Yeah, you go first.
Absolutely not. I even when we were playing Europa League, Rob can tell you last year he was vouching for us getting out of the Europa League and focusing on the Premier League. And I understand the point, but as a big club, if you're a big club, you can't do that shit, because getting out of a competition like this doesn't guarantee you winning the league. So what the fuck is gonna happen when you be like, all right, I'm gonna lose the Champions League so I can focus on the Premier League and just below the Premier League as well? It just doesn't. And the lack of depth maybe was an issue last year. Obviously Saliba got injured in the Europa League second leg or first leg. I don't even remember which one it was. But it's the Champions League. It's the trophy that everybody wants to win. You can't just say, I'm gonna opt out of it and just focus on the other ones.
If we weren't firmly in the picture for both, fine. Like if we were kind of outside on the Prem, maybe I'd understand throwing it all at the Champions League or vice versa, but we're in both.
Think about the Premier League. Like, we're first right now, right? We have City, we have Villa at home, we have Spurs, and then we have United. I think those are the 4 games that are like our top games in the Premier League, right?
I would say Chelsea. Chelsea as well.
Chelsea at home too. But the lack of depth, I just don't see it as an excuse to, like, even if we had it, I mean, rest players against Luton Town, Everton or whoever the fuck needs to be rested with
Yep.
Wolves, but not throw away a Champions League. You know, if you're a big club, you have to play everything to win. I was even pissed when we got out of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. You know, because it just
Yeah,
I don't like
I
to
got
lose.
it. Rob?
Michael, I'm sorry. I think this
Da-da-da-da.
is a fucking small-minded, small club mentality question. Like PJ said, if we want to be up with those big dogs, we're in the Champions League. We should try to win every single trophy that we have the opportunity to win. It's different with Europa League. Let's say, last year I didn't care if we won the Europa League. I obviously want to win that trophy, but we're sitting first or second in the Premier League. We're making top 4. We don't need to win the Europa League to make top 4 to make Champions League. So if we get knocked out there, whatever, it's fine. We're making Champions League no matter what. We had 2 freak injuries happen in that leg where we lost arguably our center back and then our reserve options. We had to play fucking Rob Holding. That's a freak injury. That doesn't happen a lot. But to drop out of the Champions League to try and win the league, I fucking hate that. Where we should try to win the Champions League and the Premier League every single year. We should make a go. If once we have more depth, as we continue to build our depth, we should go for the Carabao Cup every year. We should go for the FA Cup every year. Clubs like Madrid, City, these guys aren't dropping out of competitions because they want to focus somewhere else. City just won the treble. We've seen Inter Milan win the treble in the past. Those are big clubs that want to win trophies. And if we consider ourselves a big club, then absolutely we need to go for every trophy possible.
I don't think there's much more to say on this one. Good to move on. Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty mild, Rob. I thought you were going to be...
I'm not going to be mean. I don't know him. I just hate that question. If it was him or somebody else,
I hated you last season when you were, just let's drop out of the Europa League. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So imagine if somebody asked me about the Champions League.
At that point, my entire goal for the season was to get back into the Champions League, and that was secured. There's no way we're going to fuck up the league and not make top 4. So now, obviously I want to win everything, but then that was the goal. Get in the Champions League. Now the goal is let's fucking win everything we can. And we have our depth coming back. Everybody's coming back. So we have the depth now to do both. And these guys are world-class athletes. They can play multiple games in a week. Every other team doesn't. We're no different than every other team that does it. So if they're going for it, we can go for it. And we're the youngest team. We have the freshest legs. We don't have 41-year-old Pepe on our squad going, oh shit, do we need to rest this guy because he has 2 games this week? If he can do it,
that fucker doesn't rest.
Yeah, if he can do it, anyone on our team can do it. Who's our oldest player? It's got to be Jorginho, right?
Jorginho.
He's what, 31?
Is El Neni older?
I'm fucking 32. I
actually don't know the answer to that.
Yes, absolutely.
And then he's 31.
So, what about Cedric?
Jorginho.
Cedric's 32.
Maybe.
33 in
Irrelevant.
August. Wait, I really want to know the answer to this now.
I think it's Jorginho. I think I looked at
no,
think
Cedric's older than
33,
Jorginho.
34.
His birthday's August. Jorginho's birthday. Oh my God, Jorginho was born 364 days after me. I'm December 21st, 1990. He's December 20th, 1991. That's so special. Yeah, it's Cedric by a few months on Jorginho. So, all right, player ratings. Woo! We'll go goalie and defense first. I'll go first. David Raya 10, Ben White 8, Saliba 8, Kivior 8.
Wow.
All right. I'm going to do 10 for Raya, 7 for White, 7 for Saliba, 8 for Gabriel, and 7 for Kivior.
What in the fuck game?
The one where we kept a
watch?
clean sheet, Rob.
If a 6 is they put in a normal performance, you're going to sit here and tell me Ben White and Gabriel played better than they normally play?
Gabriel, I was actually listening to IFTV,
Oh, stop.
AFTV earlier, and they kind of it kind of had the same my thinking. I think Gabriel played a way better game than Saliba, and that doesn't happen often.
I would agree with you there.
Saliba was freaking shaky, and I think in this game, Gabriel was the one who kind of took charge of that line.
Oh, I never even looked at my
Um,
bets. I'm just
I-
realizing that. Sorry.
I lost everything. I think that I think defensively they were not, obviously they were not great like they usually are. We did keep a clean sheet. I think offensively we did suck. Them both.
Yeah.
They were very like, I don't know how to say this, but like they would try to like push the play moving forward, and a lot of times they just played a long ball. We just lost it. I don't know if that was the game plan, but that was just the way I saw it.
Raya 10, obviously. If Ben White's normal game's a 6, I'm going to give Ben White a 5. I thought he was not very good
So
at all.
Ben White
going to
won
give-
all his tackles. He had 4 interceptions, 5 recoveries.
As Christian said, those are just stats. I don't care.
I just want to listen to what he's.
My
say.
qualms with our defense wasn't, and this is going to sound backwards, wasn't so much how they played defensively. It was like Christian said, they were all completely terrible playing forward. Ben White a 5. I just thought he gave the ball away a lot. He takes weight. We're in a time crunch, and he's holding the ball for 30 seconds on throw, and still drives me nuts. I'm going to give, I think Saliba's average should be a 7. I don't think 6
Just
is fair because he's so good. So I'm going to give Saliba a 6, but I'm not going to say it's his normal 6. I'm going to give Gabriel a 6 because I thought every single long ball he played, he hit 20 yards too far.
Yeah.
That also could be because he's hitting them to Trossard and not Martinelli, so maybe he's used to having a little bit more speed. And then I'm going to give Kiawar as our highest rated defender, but I'm going to give him a 7.
All right.
If I was rating them on pure defense, I would
That's
give them
you.
all like 8s, but I'm going to also contribute in the fact that they all sucked complete ass moving the ball forward and picking out passes.
That's why we each give our own opinions. So, all right, midfield. Rob, go for it.
Yeah, Rice wasn't his. This is probably the worst game I think we've probably seen Rice play for Arsenal, if we're being honest. But still, I'm gonna also, and I think Rice is also in the Saliba boat where I think for him an average should be a 7 instead of a 6. So I'm gonna give Rice a 6, below average for him. But I don't want to give him a 5 because I think he's better than a 5. I'm going to give Odegaard an 8, 8.5. I'll give Odegaard an 8.5, and then I will give Jorginho a 6. No notes.
Christian?
Okay. I'm gonna go with a 7. For Rice, a 6 for Jorginho, and I'm giving Odegaard a 10.
A 10.
A 10?
Yeah, a 10.
That's
For
the best
me,
game you've ever
him-
seen Odegaard play?
It
He was
does.
perfect?
In terms of a game, like, I just hear why I think that. This is why I think that. I think he was the guy who pushed the team forward. He invented a play and an assist out of nowhere. We got the goal. He pressed like I haven't ever seen him press. He run. If he wasn't the guy that ran the most in that game, he had to be top 2 because every single time that keeper would get the ball, he would just sprint towards him. And after he did all this shit, he stepped in and took the first penalty after 14 years of us not being in the, not getting past this round of 16. I think for me, that's a lot of respect. And I'm just going to give him a 10.
Not only did he take the first penalty, but he won the coin toss and said, we want to kick first.
Yeah, and he fucking drained it. He just, there was no way the keeper was going to stop it.
I think, just to touch on this really quickly, I think when we brought Rice in, I think we texted about like, oh, is Odegaard, is there going to be an eventuality where Rice becomes captain? Would Rice be okay coming to Arsenal not being captain? But I think, if he hadn't already done it, like Odegaard 100% has proven that he is the man to captain Arsenal football team. And right there, is the reason why in the biggest moment we've had so far this season, he had an amazing assist. He said, we want to kick the fucking ball first. I'm going to kick the fucking ball first. And then he buried it.
I mean, I used to sound like a broken record saying that Odegaard was always hiding in big games for
Not
the
this
whole
year
year.
at all. Not
This year,
at all.
he's been
Yeah.
like, I think Rice coming in, I think his mentality was a little bit more of like, fuck this shit. I'm the fucking captain and I'm going to act
Yeah.
like it. And I think
I
he's
don't
been
think you could
phenomenal
ask
this
for a
year.
better club captain than Martin Odegaard. I mean, the definition of just
very lucky.
lead by example. He doesn't need to be that loud, you know, like the way that Granit Xhaka was. Obviously, there was a time he was captain. There was a time he was not captain. We know what happened and the redemption arc and everything else. But something you could always say about Granit Xhaka was he didn't need a captain title. Everyone knew that Granit Xhaka's the guy. Like, he's the guy grabbing people by the scruff of the neck and having that mentality that was very elite. I think that in any other club, Declan Rice would be the captain. The fact that Odegaard is there, I don't think it changes a thing about what Declan Rice does, because I think he takes that Xhaka approach of all of that. So
exactly.
I'm not too fussed about it, and I think there's enough mutual respect there and just Rice's attitude as a whole where you could see he is not going to cause any issues or whatnot over captaincy. In terms of my ratings on the midfield, I gave Rice a 7. I still think he was very good. It was more just for Declan Rice. He was below par. He did a lot of things well, though, buried his pen. So bonus for that.
He shit his pants.
Shit his pants. Did
you guys see that? He shit his pants.
Gary Lineker type of shitting his pants.
Always funny. So, Jorginho, I'm gonna go 7 as well. I thought he was perfectly fine. I thought he played some really good passes early on, but like just the way that Porto played kind of stifled a lot of what Jorginho brings. But he didn't cause any issues. Like, he did his job. Like, no matter what, you're going to get at least a certain level out of a guy like Jorginho. And I'm really glad he was on the pitch. And then Odegaard, I gave a 9. I kind of want to elevate that to a 9.5 because Christian, you sold me on it. I'm not going to give him a 10 because I think a 10 he would have needed to also like score goals and have like multiple goal contributions. But I think you can pretty much say it was a flawless performance from him. So you could totally justify the 10. Like you said, I mean, you typically associate those creative players like the traditional 10 role, which is what I think Odegaard, if he was 10 years younger, would have just been that traditional 10 role when it still existed in the game, unlike now where it's kind of fading out. But you don't associate creative players like that with hustle, right? Like, most of those 10s kind of drift in and out of games, and the reason the 10 is kind of dead is because it's a luxury, and it was basically a guy who you knew wasn't going to do a whole lot of defending. His job was to roam pretty free and do his thing. And in the modern game, there's way too much structure, and everybody needs to be all action. But Martin Odegaard is that. He is, like you said, the hardest worker on the pitch. He's pressing like his life literally depends on it every single time. I mean, yeah, he had to have covered the most distance. I would love to understand like what that guy's VO2 max is compared to other guys, because he could bust along all day, 120 minutes, and he could have kept sprinting. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Lastly, the front line. So, Christian, you want to bring us home?
I'm going to be 4 to Saka. 4. Leo, I'm going to give him a 7 just because he scored the goal that we needed. Although he was pretty much a ghost the entire game. And Havertz, I liked when he played up top I felt like when he was dropped down to that eighth role, he wasn't as effective, which is I personally don't like him in
Mhm.
that role, anyways. So I'm gonna give him a 7. So it'll be a 7-7-4 for Saka. For me, Saka was by far the worst player on the pitch. I don't know if it was the game plan was that, but holy shit, like he would
I
just not
think
connect the pass.
Wendell just had his number in this draw in this tie. Both legs. Wendell absolutely bossed Bukayo Saka, and Porto is about to make a shit ton of money on him for those two performances alone, if they know what they're doing.
I just feel that to me, he's a world class player. He's a fucking he's a star. He's a star boy, and you can't just have one guy stopped you in 2 games. Like if he is the face of this club, he needs to like, obviously step it up, which he will, I'm sure. But just that performance from yesterday. I mean, he did granted took a penalty, like fucking king, but yeah, I don't know. Just to me, it was really frustrating to watch him play
Dispossessed 6
yesterday.
times, offside once, only 1 pass into the final third, 0 for 6 accurate crosses. It wasn't his best game. Created 2 chances, 1 big chance, 2 shots on target. 79% passing. Definitely not the Bukayo Saka we're used to. I still think he was effective, nonetheless, because he just demands attention from the opposition. So
Exactly.
So I guess that's the what I was saying earlier. Remember that when I mentioned that interview that he did with like CBS? I think that game plan was to keep Bukayo roaming around Wendell, not having him kind of join the attack. I think that's what I said. I think maybe it was the role that he played in this game, and we were trying to do, damage somewhere else. But I just
I gave him a 6. I gave Saka a 6. I thought that he didn't do anything, I think, horribly wrong. Did he do a whole lot great? No, but I thought he contributed. Just his pure presence is a contribution, and he slotted his penalty beautifully in another high pressure moment where every single time this guy's going to take a penalty, you're going to reference the Euros and you're going to reference the big moments.
Yep.
It's going to happen the rest of his career now. It's just inevitable. And I just feel so much happiness and joy for him every time that he scores them.
They scored.
So I gave him a 6. Havertz, I gave an 8. I think he's just so valuable. He does so many things for the team. He's another guy I can't imagine not having on the pitch, which is just incomprehensible, after the first month or two of the season to say, I can't imagine not having that guy, because that guy looked more like one of the fucking donkeys he owns than a real professional footballer. And now he is just like so integral to everything we do, in my opinion. Lastly, Leo Trossard, he's an 8. I don't care about anything else he scored. Did he have the best game ever? No. Was he fine? Yeah. Did he score the goal that ultimately got us back in the mix? Yeah. So he's an 8 for that alone.
I'm going to give Saka a 6 for like the same reasons. He didn't play his best game, probably one of the worst games we've watched him play. But the thing is he, like you said, he demands so much respect. And even if he's playing bad, that doesn't change his mentality. He's still going to drive at players. He's still going to shoot. He's still going to try to make things happen. If he would have just shied out of this game and kind of backed down because he knew he was playing bad, then that's a disaster. That's what we don't want. Luckily, he doesn't do that. Trossard, I'm going to give a 7. I wouldn't, if he didn't score the goal, I would give him a 5. I think he was a ghost until he happened to score that goal. I don't like him on the wing, really. I like him at the 9 if he plays sort of like a false 9. And then, Havertz, I'm going to give like a 7.5 for a lot of the same reasons. Just so technically good. He still had some moments where like his touch got away from him on a couple spots. I remember like he had some space and just like a heavy touch and lost the ball. But the fact that he pushed the coach,
yeah, how did
I
we not
fucking love
mention that?
I fucking love that. And that's
Get
another one
the
that he
fuck
probably
out.
should have been carded for that. And we got away with it. But I love how he just gave him a little push and just backed away like it was nothing. And then he buried his penalty. And I think for penalties, he's like 21 out of 21 in his
God
career.
damn it,
So
Rob. Why would you say
Yeah.
that?
because it's a
You
true.
just jinxed the fuck
Rob.
out of him.
Everybody's been saying that about it. People said, "Oh, he's 15 of 15. Oh, he's 17 out of 17." Now he's just
I didn't
21
hear
out of
anyone say
21.
it.
I just saw it all over Twitter. Especially when he scored his first goal for Arsenal and he made that penalty. I saw after that, like that he's like 20 of 20 or
Long
something.
may
So
it continue. And if it doesn't
Yeah.
work out, it's all your fucking fault. Sorry.
he's a
Let's
winner.
just hope it's not in the Champions League
Mhm.
final.
He'll score it.
You better. All right, we're gonna do our last rating, as we all know, Mikel Arteta.
I'll go first because I feel like you guys are going to be really harsh on him. I'm just going to give him a 6. I don't think he did anything special. I don't think he did anything great. It's so hard to have a game plan against a team that plays that way. So I don't.
5.
Yeah.
5 for me. I think the game plan, I don't think it was too bad considering that we didn't concede and they didn't have that many chances. I just think the subs were not great. I think the Eddie and Ketia coming in, I don't think anybody saw that coming, especially when you have to bring Eddie to like move Gabriel,
Yeah.
Jesus to the left. I think a more, logical option would have been to bring, Reese Nelson and leave Gabriel Jesus where it was because he was doing damage where he was. When Eddie came in, I think that just killed the game for us, and it was just pretty much nothing happened up to the end of the game. So I think that sub really threw me out.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, there were a few times, I think it was last year, or the year before, where Eddie actually played on the wing, and I thought he didn't look awful, believe it or not. Yes, I said something not awful about Eddie Nketiah, but I mean, I don't think he can do that. If he's not willing to play Smith Rowe on the left wing anymore, he's definitely not playing Eddie Nketiah on the left wing anymore. But yeah, I was calling for Reese big time to come on with fresh legs against a tired Porto. You know he's going to work hard.
It's a second extra time. Like he would have cooked in that. I mean, he's a pacey guy. He runs fast. He has dribbling,
and he's going to come back and
the
defend.
ball. He can shoot.
Which Eddie clearly wasn't going to do. Unfortunately, so.
I personally think Eddie has lost that dog in him.
He's done.
That he had when he was fighting for a number on our team and a new contract. I think that after he got that, he just
I mean, unfortunately,
very disappointed with him this season.
I mean, the only thing that would keep Eddie Nketiah at Arsenal Football Club beyond this season is FFP. That's the only thing keeping him here, which I think is, again, I said it before, I think it's probably the only reason Reese Nelson is still at the club is FFP. Because homegrown Tally and...
We're going to sell one of the two.
I think Eddie's gone.
Both.
I think Reese will stay. I think Eddie's gone. I mean, if someone made a good offer for Reese, I could see us selling him too. But again, just I don't fully understand the FFP setup and everything else. Long story short, on Arteta, I'm going to give him a 6.5. I think he's a 6, but we won and conquered the Champions League, round of 16 for the first time in 14 years. So if that's not reason enough to at least give him a half a point, I don't know what is. So I'm going to bump him up to 6.5. in terms of the usual stuff that we do, you know, plan is to still continue to pump out at least one podcast a week. So I don't think we need to talk about Man City yet. We've got at least 2 podcasts coming before that game. So I say we save that if that's good with you guys.
Yeah.
Anything else that we want to go through before we hit parting thoughts?
I'm good.
Cool.
Not for me.
Who wants to go first with their parting thought?
Just enjoy your mental break of 2-3 weeks. Think about the good things in life. Rob, meditate. You need that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say just with this mental break, we are in a position we have not been in fucking forever. We're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We're top of the league in the Premier League. We have players coming back. The rest of the season is going to be way harder than this, first 2/3 of the season was, for sure.
I think we should go to Dubai again.
We literally have one of the best title races in years happening right now, and we get to watch Champions League football. So it's a really awesome time to be a fan of the club.
Yeah, I would just say, to echo what y'all said, enjoy the break because this is the last international break. After this, it is just going to be full speed ahead, a lot of games, and there's going to be a lot of twists and turns left before all is said and done. To give context, we've played 28 games in the Premier League. That means there's 10 more to go. That's a lot of games. People, we're
2.5 months.
All 3 teams at some point are going to drop points. And I bet you at least 1 or 2 of the times it happens, it's going to be incredibly unexpected. And not...
We aren't going to drop points.
Of course not. But just, it's a long ride, and I think the football world, especially football Twitter, has a knack of jumping to extreme conclusions off of one small moment and making it way bigger than it is. So I would just say, as a group of guys who have been following this for a while, this club, just understand that it's not do or die every single game. I think City will get into. I mean, that obviously has way bigger repercussions because it's direct, and that's the biggest threat, in my opinion. But yeah, let's do our best to just enjoy it as much as we can. So,
and maybe a controversial opinion, but if you have any Spurs friends, maybe send some karma their way, because there's a good chance that they could help us win the league, because they play Liverpool, they play City,
and
so
us.
I would love to beat Spurs, and then I would love Spurs to beat one of those 2 teams and basically hand us the title. I would fucking love that.
I think they're so shitty that they would do this on purpose.
I kind of agree.
That's why we hate them.
All right. So thanks again to everybody for listening. That was so much fun yesterday. I'm still so happy. I thought
you were going to say
yeah, well, I was going to say at 33, I'm quickly learning that I can't drink like I used to, which my wife was very, very clear to me about this morning. I absolutely stopped home on the way home from work and got flowers. And I'm guessing I'm not the only gooner out there that was in a similar predicament with how they showed up back home last night. So to all y'all, just remember, flowers, they don't hurt. They don't hurt.
Yeah, and suck some toes too.
You can only
That's
win or
it.
tie.
What wise words of wisdom. So, on that note, thanks again. We will catch you next week. Come on, you Gunners.
Our 10
Let's
a.m.
fucking go.